Hi and welcome back. On today's episode, I was going to say this week's, but on today's episode, we are going to talk about indoctrination, those beliefs, and how they basically create havoc within our own lives, within our lives of family, and within society globally.
Mhm.
So we're going to start with the big one, seeing as this is about spirituality, because there are God-fearing people out there that say that what we're doing is really evil.
Yeah. I can't even sense this straight when you say that. Oh, I think it's just not knowing. I think people are just forgotten where we started and how what we do is thousands and thousands of years old, and religion is, 2,000 years old, 3,000 max.
Mm-hmm.
But there are so many practices and rituals and healing methods that are natural from earth. And what we are doing is we're just taking ancient remedies, using in today's world.
Mm-hmm.
So back then, I think there was like, it's a witchcraft because you would put potions and this and that. And then I'm like, it's literally just tea. It's
But
plants that we know that are going to work together to heal you and ill you.
and let's not forget that came from religion. That came from
Yeah.
organized religion wanting to be dominant. Obviously you've got the Mexico history there, and you've got the whole Rome, the Catholics going over and dominating.
Yeah.
We had the same here. Um, but obviously, it was Druidism that they wiped out here, which is especially which is our form of shamanism. I mean, it's all different names, but it's. I want to go back to the first phrase that I said and really pick up on that: God fearing, because I don't believe we should be fearing God. I don't
No.
believe God would want us to be fearing. It is such a low vibrating energy. Why would
Well,
he want us to be fearing him when the purpose is of love? When Jesus, his son, came back to teach us about the vibration of love, to teach us about having mutual respect, care, attention for each other, to hold space for each other, to heal each other. Because what he was doing, if that is the case, what he was doing was the work of the devil. If we're really going to go down that road, and this is going to really stir some people up. that's why that's why Sylvia's gone into her whole America mode. Then, oh,
like, okay, we're going.
yes,
I was just, no, what came across was like the 40 days and 40 nights. And I'm like, he was just meditating. But
yeah.
so in healing, and to me, like you said, if you're being indoctrinated into this belief, and especially for us and my people, um, but at the end, it's still like, as a child, like you said, I couldn't understand why I had to fear a God that was supposed to be all loving and almighty, right? So if you don't do this, you're gonna go to hell. If you don't believe in this, God's not gonna love you or whatever, like
Mm-hmm.
you need to fear God. And my mother is very religious, extremely religious sometimes, but she still practices, which I always find that it's a little bit. Not gonna go into that, but I asked her one time, if he is all about love, why do I need to fear this God? She responded with, because it is the fear of you not being the best version of you and meeting someone who's great. And so that was her perception, what she gave me. I think that was the best she could come up when I was about 10. I've also had my uncles who were priests the same question, and they've given me different answers, none that I felt like would explain what
Mm-hmm.
fear God or fear his wrath. And I'm like, it just never made sense to me. And growing up as a child in a Catholic religion, Catholicism never made any sense to me. I mean, I tried and I believed and I read the Bible. I went to Bible studies and I went this, and there was always that question, but why? Like, I want to know. Okay, I understand Jesus, like you said, he was loving and giving and everything, but I also work a lot and pray to Virgin Guadalupe, who is Our Lady. And that I understand as well. And I mean, we can go a whole different story with that about how, anyway, but when I hear something like, that's evil, what you're doing, or you need to fear God for what you're doing, I'm going, but why? Does he not want me to help someone who's in pain? Does he not want me to help someone that that by me helping them heal, they can live better and have a better version of them? How about, not everything is going to be cured by science. Not everything's going to be. There's just some things that we just can't understand. And Catholics, religion calls it miracles, but we call it differently. We call it energies working with spirit.
Yeah. And I think the other thing is you said there, science. I mean, science has its place. Yeah. Traditional medicine has its place. But I think we've got into, society has actually been cultivated and steered in a direction where we have a hierarchical system. And spirituality is not about a hierarchical system. It's about everybody taking responsibility and accountability for themselves. But of course, our social systems go, oh, well, that's selfish. But actually, no, if you pull back from that, if you actually look, okay, I am going to take complete responsibility and accountability for everything that I do. I will do no harm. That is my one law. That is my only law. I do no intentional harm.
Exactly.
And so we all live our lives the way that we see fit, which means we all have the freedom to dance in the way that we want to dance. And I always keep going back. So the spirit keeps taking me back to this whole dance floor analogy thing. It happens on, and if we, so we're free dancing. We're all free dancing. Whereas society wants us all to do the foxtrot. And then if you don't know the foxtrot, then you're going to stand on toes, you're going to bump into other people, and you're going to run out of dance floor. And so there's a competition then, because there's limited space, there's limited room, you're going to start knocking. And so then we step into that, we step into and over the line of do no harm, and we start harming because we feel we need to make space for ourselves. And that's how I always look at it. It's, for me, polarities exist so that we can make sense of the world. We shouldn't actually be living our lives thinking it's real. Because I don't believe in good and evil. I believe in people doing evil things because of where they're at. I don't believe that they're evil people. And I know that will set some people alight. and
I know, I feel the same way.
I've struggled with it on certain situations, with certain cases. I've struggled with it. But I do actually believe that. I don't think anybody is born innately evil. I believe it's through circumstances. It's things that have triggered or things that they've brought through from other lives that has actually created that.
Yes, I mean, and that's a really hard, like you said, it's really hard to accept that. But once you start working with people and you start seeing and knowing more about what we do, and as well as if you're just going to throw in their demons and you really understand what demons are, you start to see people differently. And that's one of the things that I personally don't work with. It's something that I have come across. But what I understand from it, it's more of some really, really, really low vibrating, emotional vibrations. And they get a hold of you, and they're easy to attach to others. And that, we see that as evil, but it's just because it's really low and it just brings us down. But to me, like I said, indoctrinating someone and going back to indoctrination and how we believe this, and that I might get a lot of feedback for this, but I'm just gonna say it. I see the most in religion of these low energies, of telling people, if you don't do this, you're gonna go to hell. But when I go, when I used to go to church, that's where I felt the most low vibrations. And remember what I said, that I feel energy and I feel other people's energetic field. There was one time in all the years that I've gone to Mass that I felt a beautiful vibration that just came through. And it was so beautiful that came through that I cried. It was so intense. That was one time. And what happened was there was children singing. And that vibration, what they were singing, was the most beautiful melody that it just cleansed everybody. But it's always, and I know that if you guys don't want to admit to it, but I know when you guys go to Mass, if you have someone not paying attention, they're falling asleep, or they're hitting somebody else, or just pay attention, look what she's wearing, oh my God, can you think they're not, I mean, they're criticizing each other. They're in there, they pretend to listen to what, pastor, priest, or rabbi, whatever, are saying, and they come out and do everything that we were told not to do. And so those are the low vibrations. So when I actually want to feel the love of God, I go into nature, and I go into the beautiful, put my feet in the water. I witnessed life. And that, because again, it's been indoctrinated, like, okay, you have to give them a certain amount of money and you have to do this. And it's a ritual. And I told my mom that, well, you have rituals too, because you go to church, you say a prayer, which we chant, you do an offering, which we also do, okay? Then you take in or drink as well from their Jesus blood or the bread of, so you're taking in something from him, which we also do. We just do it differently. But I think the differences for me is that I am responsible for myself and how I treat others. And everything that I do is going to come back to me. I know that. And what I do and what I say is only about me. And therefore, if I want to make others people feel good, then I treat others with respect and kindness and love, regardless of who you are, your background, or what you believe in. But when I went to church, it was about according everyone. But because if someone was out of line, then we had to judge that person to bring them back into life. Almost like
it's that judgment.
Like sheep.
It's that judgment. I really can't. I mean, we've obviously, we're not Catholic in I mean, there are Catholic churches here, but it's predominantly Church of England. But it is that judgment. And I'm not saying all religious people are, but I think it very, very much depends on the pastor that you've got, or the vicar that you've got, or the priest that you've got. There are some very, very good communities out there that do a lot of work, and they really support their parishioners, and they do expand the soul of their parishioners. But there are also a lot that do not. There are also a lot read the book rather than read the energies. There are a lot that just blindly follow and blindly lead.
Yeah.
And I think that's, I always because this has come up, obviously working with a lot of spiritual people and empaths and things since 2014. I've had a lot of, because religion's very big in America, and so I've had a lot of people come up to me and saying, okay, this is what's going on in my life, but I'm in conflict because you know, I come from a religious background, and it was rubbing up the wrong way. They were kind of like, because from what they would been taught to what they were actually feeling were in conflict. And so I've actually, I mean, I'm not here to sway anybody, but what I will say here and what I would actually tell them is go away and learn the history of religion, especially Catholic religion. Go away and learn it. Who wrote the Bible? The Romans wrote the Bible. Why did they write the Bible? Because they learned after the whole Jesus following, they learned they could get people to follow them through peace, not through war.
Yeah.
And so we need to really keep that in mind. And as I said, don't take my word for it. Go and look at your history. Go and read the history of the existence of the Roman Catholic Church. Look at what goes on within the Roman Catholic Church. Look at how, you know, go to Rome, see the Vatican, see the amount of opious wealth that is there. It's
well, I mean, it's also one of the things about religion is I think it's just because they don't know. When I was going through my journey of trying to figure out what to do myself with the knowledge and everything that I know, and that Catholicism wasn't right, I went through almost every religion to see which one felt right, and none of them felt right for me. They all were the same. And I took classes on the Quran and you know, and learn more about it, and I've done, you know, the different religions. Right now I'm reading about the Stoics, you know, and everything, because I'm always wondering and learning from other religions to help people. And the one thing I can tell you is that, and I've told everyone that I work with, is like, my beliefs are my beliefs and your beliefs are your beliefs, and this is where we have to respect each other. If you are a devoted Christian, Catholic, Muslim, Hindus, and that works for you and that brings you peace, stick with that.
Stick with it.
Because it's about growth for you. It's about peacefulness and love. If that brings you that, stick with that. Because it's not about me, it's not about Claire or the world or anything. It is for you to find something that brings you peace, that makes you grow, and that heals you. And what I mean by healing is not just like the physical, but also the spiritual part of past lifetimes, and to learn lessons, because you're here for a reason. And that's the one thing I've always been told. We're all here for a reason, and that is a journey, a lifetime that we need to learn certain lessons. And when you realize that, and you found something that works for you, like I said, my mother practices, but she's also a very devoted Catholic, and she tells me about all these things, and I just go, yeah, that works for you, great, and this is what works for me. And she has never once told me what you're doing is wrong. She goes, you found what works for you, and you're much happier, and you're growing and better. And as well as other people who I have friends from every religion, and we don't sit down and talk about religion or anything like that, not because we can't find common grounds, but because I think we're more than that. We're more than what we believe spiritually. But I have very devoted Christians that have come to help, because they're like, okay, I can't get past this. I don't know what's happening. And then I'll try, like, okay, let's work with this and see if that works for you, you know. But that doesn't mean we're going to take you out of the religion and now you have to believe in this.
No.
So no.
And I don't follow I am not a subscriber to a organized religion, but I believe in God. I believe in Jesus Christ. I believe that there is a lot of wisdom, knowledge, and power that can be drawn from a lot of those stories. But I don't just read the word for word. I'm reading between the lines as well. I feel into the energies. I meditate. I allow that to come in. And that's where my spirituality comes in. And I would actually say most people that are on their spiritual journey have another religious belief system in place as well as. This is not about it's not about religion's a bad thing. It's about you stepping back and going, okay, is what I'm believing in religion an indoctrination? Has that been given to me? And if it has been given to me, does it resonate with me? And then if it doesn't resonate with you, it's confining you, and it's and understanding that if it's not resonating with you, it doesn't belong to you. But if you're still taking it in, you're putting yourself in a box. And so you're stunting your ability to expand further.
Absolutely.
It doesn't mean you have to chuck out the baby with the bathwater. You can pick up the baby, you can get rid of the bathwater, and you can put fresh bathwater in there.
True.
And I think that's a really good place to end this one. So we shall see you on the next one. You take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.